Suppliers on the Rock have grown accustomed to some importing issues due to Brexit, creating paperwork for goods of animal origin, but also shortages of lorry drivers across Europe. But at the start of the year, when Brexit issues struck, the world had slowed down due to COVID. Post-pandemic, there has not been enough supply to meet rising demand, Luis Nieto told GBC. The wholesaler, which supplies restaurants, bars, shops, hotels and supermarkets, says it's had problems getting products this year as shipping providers have struggled to keep up with the spike in volume and demand. Resto told GBC that it started bringing Christmas items in August because of anticipated issues. Allied Traders is experiencing delays of up to a week every month. But F&B suppliers on the Rock are keen to stress that these issues don't mean that there won't be enough supplies at Christmas, just that their formats could be different. At Zirconian Speed, they have Coca-Cola cans in 6 different formats. Whilst the 24-pack might be in short supply, there will be plenty of 8-packs to fall back on.
If you imagine a manufacturing plant suddenly having a third or half of its workforce being pinged and not being able to turn up to work, they might stop producing or producing a fraction of what they were producing before. There's a major spirits supplier has announced that in Spain there's going to be a major brand that they won't have available for 3 months simply because they can't get the bottles. You think, well, how can you not have bottles? The main manufacturer of bottles in Europe shut down over the COVID period, and the furnaces take nearly a month to run up again. What it shows is that we live in a massively interconnected world, and what happens in one place has a knock-on effect throughout, and at the end of the day, tiny Gibraltar is not immune to this.
Over at Gibmaroc, they would usually bring in garlic from Dutch suppliers, who import it from China, the largest garlic producer in the world. The wholesaler has recently re-established links with Morocco because of issues it was encountering with shipping elsewhere. Resto imports from Spain and wider Europe, but also from as far afield as South America and Australia. The company says that all of these countries are having delays with freight. And all of this comes at a cost, especially with a rise in fuel prices. According to Gibmaroc, a 40-foot container that used to cost $3,000 to $5,000 to import now costs $15,000.
The fuel costs have gone up, and that's a cost that has gone up to us that we need to pass on, because otherwise we're out of pocket and it affects the company. We are trying to reduce price increases to the minimum, but certainly if goods come to us with a price increase, we do have to pass that on to the consumer.
As the wholesalers have said, these issues are global ones, with supply chain bottlenecks being reported on around the world. Meanwhile, what could be done locally to relieve it somewhat?
The treaty negotiation is something that we're keeping a very careful eye on, because that can range from an improvement to where we are to a massive negative impact depending on the nature of the negotiations. And we have been in touch with government, and we know that government sees the issues. But certainly one area where Gib will benefit is if we could have more regular shipping into Gib, where we're currently on a fortnight ship. If the infrastructure and the arrangements were there so that we could have weekly shippings, that would facilitate issues.
The government says that in the event of a no negotiated outcome, the plan would be to use the tunnels and vaults inside the Rock for storage, with a number of areas inside the Rock already being cleared and earmarked. Although, it adds, it is clearly committed to a positive outcome to the negotiations. The crystal ball can't predict what will happen with COVID, but with the third round of treaty talks beginning this week, suppliers will be hoping for some clarity via a Brexit treaty.